It can be easy to forget that we are surrounded by hundreds and thousands of tiny animals that we call mini-beasts. Officially, mini-beasts are known as invertebrates, and that means animals without a backbone. Spiders, snails, caterpillars, butterflies and bees all fall into this category, and mini-beasts are the most numerous type of animal that can be found on Earth. However, with almost 1 million species of mini-beast identified worldwide, and scientists continuing to discover new species every year, there is a lot of information which might only apply to one type of creature within a species, or might be a complete myth altogether. With that in mind, here are 10 things you should know about mini-beasts. 1. Insects are much older than the dinosaurs. The first dinosaur appeared on Earth around 230 million years ago, and it is often said that insects are as old as the dinosaurs. However, they are in fact much older. Around 500 million years ago, when the Earth was warm and forests were starting to grow, the first insects emerged. These ancient insects resembled modern day mayflies, and they shared the Earth with the first land predators such as centipedes and arachnids like spiders and scorpions. So how do we know so much about these ancient insects? While it is possible for insects to be fossilised within rock, this is very rare. A more common way for insects to be preserved, as anyone who's seen Jurassic Park will know, is in the sticky sap that leaks out of trees. The insect would land on the tree and get caught up in this sap, which would cover the insect, and then it hardens into amber, with the insect perfectly preserved inside. Every year, scientists are discovering lots of brand new species of ancient insect encased within amber. So our picture of these ancient insects is constantly changing. So there you have it, insects were around on Earth for about 270 million years before the dinosaurs appeared. And for anyone that's curious, it is not possible for dinosaur DNA to survive inside an insect encased in amber. 2. We don't know how many insects there actually are. Counting insects is very tricky. It's impossible to count all of the insects contained within a single forest, and if you think about the fact that insects are found almost everywhere throughout the world and in diverse habitats from houses to forests to deserts, then there's no way of knowing how many insects there are. Add to this the fact that scientists who study insects, called entomologists, are discovering hundreds of new species every single year, and it's impossible to know how many insects there are. One way that entomologists can go about working out how many insects there are is by beating a tree or using gas to knock insects out of the tree, counting up that number of insects found within the single tree, and then using very complex maths to work out how many insects would be found within that entire forest. When you add together all of the figures from around the world, it is estimated that around 2/3 of all known animal species are actually insects. And there are around 200 million insects for every single human being that exists on Earth. Despite almost 1 million species of insect already having been discovered, entomologists continue to discover brand new species of insects. And this means there is a lot more discoveries and a lot more to learn about insects for our future entomologists. 3. Not all mini-beasts are tiny. Some mini-beasts are so small you would need a microscope to be able to see them, and in just a handful of soil you would be holding thousands of mini-beasts that you can't see with your eye alone. On the other end of the scale, some mini-beasts are positively huge. Take for instance the Phryganistra stick insect, which is found in China. This stick insect can grow to around 64 centimetres long. That is longer than the average cat and almost twice as long as the previously known longest stick insect. There is also the very appropriately named giant grasshopper, which flies around the forests in Central and South America on a set of wings with a span, which means from the tip of one wing to the tip of the other, of 24 centimetres. That wingspan is bigger than the wingspan of a sparrow. Another very appropriately named mini-beast is the Goliath beetle, which weighs around 60 grams. That is 20 grams heavier than a common toad. So don't be fooled by the name. Not all mini-beasts are mini. 4. Centipedes don't have 100 legs and millipedes don't have 1,000 legs. This is a common misconception, mostly due to the name. After all, a century is 100 years, a centurion was in charge of 100 soldiers, and a centimetre is 1/100th of a metre. The same is true for millipedes, which have the mill part at the start of their name taken from the Latin and French word mille, which means 1,000. So, how many legs do centipedes and millipedes actually have? Centipedes all have an odd number of pairs of legs. To be able to have 100 legs, a centipede would need to have 50 pairs, and that is not possible. The closest a centipede could have would be 49 pairs, which is 98 legs, or 51 pairs, which is 102 legs. All 3,000 species of centipede have two poisoned leg-like claws near their head, and that is why they have the scientific name Chilopoda, which means lip legs. As for millipedes, none of the 12,000 species of millipede have 1,000 legs. Some millipedes have as few as 34 legs, while the species with the most number of legs has 1,306. Millipedes have 2 legs for every body segment, and that is why they have the scientific name Diplopoda, which means double foot. 5. Bees do not always die when they sting you. Here are some things that we know about bees. They are black and yellow, they live in hives, they make honey, and when they sting you, the stinger gets left behind as the bee rips its body away, leading to the death of the bee. The only problem is, these are not true of all types of bee. In fact, these are only true of Apis honeybees, and with regards to the stinger, that is only true of female Apis honeybees, not including the queen. The fact of the stinger getting left behind is only true when the bee stings a mammal because they have tough skin, but these bees can actually sting insects numerous times without having an issue with their stinger. There are only 7 species of Apis honeybees out of the around 20,000 species of bees, so practically all bees do not have a problem with their stinger. In fact, some bees, like the sugarbug bee, don't even have stingers at all. Regarding colour, orchid bees are typically a dark green colour, while blue carpenter bees are, you guessed it, blue. Blue carpenter bees are also one of a number of bee species which do not live in hives. Instead, the blue carpenter bee burrows holes into dead wood. Vulture bees don't even collect nectar or pollen, instead they feast on the bodies of dead animals. 6. You do not swallow spiders when you are sleeping. You've probably heard somebody reassuring a child who's been scared by a mini-beast by saying, don't worry, it's more afraid of you than you are of it. This is true, and this is why you do not swallow spiders when you are sleeping. Spiders tend to hang out in the home in the places that their prey is likely to be, and that is why you find them lurking in the corners of bathrooms and near windows. If a spider was to find itself on your bed at night near your mouth, that would be a terrible place for the spider to be. Spiders detect vibrations in the air through tiny hairs on their legs and body, and this is so they can detect the beating of wings of their prey. Being on a bed near your face at night when you are sleeping would mean the spider was facing gusts of air as you breathe around 20 times per minute, as well as vibrations through the bed from you moving, snoring and snorting. This would be a terrifying and confusing place for a spider to be, and it would get out of there as quickly as it can. And that is why you do not swallow spiders when you are sleeping. 7. Not all spiders catch their prey using a web. Similarly to the things that we thought we knew about bees, most often when you think about spiders and how they catch your prey, you think about them spinning a web, which flies, moths and other insects get stuck to, ready for the spider to eat them. Webs are so effective that Spider-Man even uses them to subdue criminals. However, there are around 45,000 species of spider, and of these, only about half of them use webs to catch their prey. Some crab spiders have excellent camouflage, so they lie in wait for places that their prey is likely to turn up, such as in the centre of flowers, and other spiders like the lynx spider also lie in wait on plants for their prey to arrive. Wolf spiders don't wait for their prey to come to them, instead they actively go out hunting their prey. And the 5,000 species of jumping spider use their excellent 3D vision to pursue their prey until they get to the perfect moment where they leap upon it. Trapdoor spiders hide underground in a tunnel with a trapdoor held in place with a bit of web. When they detect the vibrations of a prey animal walking nearby, they leap out from the trapdoor and grab their prey. And tarantulas ambush their prey using 2 sharp fangs to pierce their body, and this not only includes insects but also small rodents and small birds. 8. Butterflies do not emerge from cocoons. We'll all be familiar with the children's story The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and while it does get some things about caterpillars right, which I will come to, it also mentions that the caterpillar builds a cocoon around itself and then emerges as a butterfly. This is not actually a fact about butterflies. In reality, caterpillars which will become moths build cocoons around themselves, and bagworm moths will also include soil and sticks in the building of their cocoon. For a caterpillar that will become a butterfly, it usually relies on camouflage or warning colours as protection while it is in that phase of its transformation. There's no definitive way to tell the difference between a caterpillar that will become a moth and a caterpillar that will become a butterfly, so you would just need to learn all the different types of caterpillar and what they will transform into. The main difference between a cocoon and a chrysalis is that a cocoon is a protective casing around the caterpillar while it undergoes its transformation, but a chrysalis is another one of the life stages and is actually part of the transformation from caterpillar into butterfly. These incredible transformations allow this animal to be expert at different things in different stages of its life. As a caterpillar, it is an expert at eating and growing, as we saw in the book The Very Hungry Caterpillar. As a butterfly, it is an expert at flying around and has the ability to produce babies. 9. Cockroaches are not indestructible. You'll quite often hear people saying that if an asteroid was to strike the Earth or if there was to be a nuclear war, then one of the creatures that would definitely survive would be cockroaches. There are some facts about cockroaches which give rise to this myth, such as the fact there are 4,500 cockroaches found all around the world, so they are clearly thriving and can live in many parts of the world that other insects can't. Don't get me wrong, cockroaches are tough. Some species of cockroach can go without eating for a month, others can swim if they're caught in a flood, and others can survive in temperatures below freezing. One of the big things that gives rise to this myth about cockroaches being indestructible is that they have the ability to lay lots of eggs very quickly. So if cockroaches were caught in a disaster, as long as a few survived, they would very quickly be able to multiply their numbers back up, making it look like the cockroaches had never been affected at all. However, humans are having a drastic impact on the Earth right now through our actions such as building houses, roads and cities which are destroying habitats, as well as how we are affecting climate change through our activities, and this means that some insects like cockroaches might not survive. 10. Humans need insects. Insects are quite often unflatteringly called creepy crawlies, seen as a nuisance when you're trying to eat outside, or be irritating if you're out on a nice walk and you're being bitten by midges. However, humans need insects. To start with, insects can be used to keep pests away from crops on a farm that are being grown for humans to eat. In fact, the Chinese were using ants for this purpose over 2,000 years ago. Dung beetles are also very good in cattle farms for helping to stop a build-up of dung piling up on the farm. We often think of bees as the great pollinators of plants, but this is a job which is also done by flies and moths. I mentioned earlier about how irritating midges can be when they're biting you. However, I find midges a lot less irritating since learning that it is a type of midge which pollinates the cocoa plant, which is what we derive our chocolate from. Scientists are also continually studying insects to try and unlock the secrets they hold for fighting infections and researching the venom in insects which could be used to make new medicines. We owe the silk for our clothes to insects, and mealworms could be great at helping reduce the amount of pollution there is as they eat polystyrene. There are two things you should keep in mind at the end of this video. 1. With the vast number of species of minibeasts that we have already discovered, there is a lot of information we have on these animals. But there is also a lot of misinformation due to the number of types within each species, and I've addressed some of these in this video. With many more species waiting to be discovered and much more to learn about minibeasts, there is plenty for our future entomologists to get stuck into, and who knows, one of those could be you. And 2, I've just said that humans need insects, but insects need humans. They need us to protect them. Species of butterflies are starting to disappear from the UK, and species of bees are starting to be completely wiped out in the United States. This is due to the impact that humans are having on the environment. By not viewing insects as creepy crawlies and by learning about them, hopefully we can find better ways to protect these amazing creatures as we continue on our journey living our lives together on this shared earth. Thank you for watching this Things You Should Know video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date on all future content. The majority of the information for this video came from Everything You Know About Minibeasts Is Wrong by Dr Nick Crumpton, which is a brilliant book for children to start learning about minibeasts. I only used a small amount of the amazing information contained within this book, so it is well worth checking out. You can subscribe to the channel by pushing the button here, and I've added links here to the STEM demonstration and explanation videos I do, and down at the bottom to my STEM career interviews and to my other Things You Should Know videos. This has been STEM with Mr N, with 10 things you should know about mini beasts.